No.
Yep. Yeah, that was quite deep there. He had some soul there.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
I was trying to reach new depths.
Yeah,
How's it
I
going?
was thinking you're a faceless automaton. I'm good. Yeah. Yes, I'm a bit sniffly, but
I was
all
all that.
We're good.
The last episode, I was all like,
Right?
Yeah, I even had to drink some water in the middle of it, and all I've got this time is paint water.
Right.
So
it's the breakfast of champions.
yeah. I think I have. Is it dangerous to ingest enamel?
Enamel?
Paints? Yeah, enamel paints. Like streaking grime.
I think it depends on the colours. I think certain colours are good for you. Like the greens, you should get more green in your diet.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go for any corn red.
No, mine was brown.
Right.
I think I've eaten quite a lot of it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't eat a bit of paint? On the, we're all going to die of paint poisoning. I think all us hobbyists.
I mean, we're from the generation of gamers that touched all the lead.
Right.
It clearly hasn't affected either of us. Having all those lead models.
Yeah.
Back then, and just touching them a lot and scraping the lead, breathing in the lead particles. I'm sure I don't think it's affected me.
No, I don't think it's affected you at all. No. I think you're perfectly sane, rational human being.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just the bodies are buried in places that we can never find. But apart from that, there's a reason why you murdered that school bus full of children.
Yeah, and it's nothing to do with lead poisoning.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the STC, the sandwich, tasty cottage.
Yes.
Podcast.
Thank you for joining us while we're making our way through every single faction, which we promised we'd do in one podcast, and we're now on part 3.
3.
Yes.
The idea is we're going to give you a little bit of propaganda about them to get you excited, because the initial idea was Space Marine 2 had come out. Lots of people were interested in 40k.
Yeah.
We're coming up to Christmas time when you might be thinking about a new army for next year. Let's just talk about the factions, see if we can get some juices flowing.
Because it is coming up to Christmas, if you are thinking about getting a present for Aunt May, then could I recommend some Winters SEO merchandise? Get yourself a mug, something like that. Be nice.
Yeah, she'd love it.
Don't get an army for Aunt May. She wouldn't know what to do with the Necrons. But with a mug, she could make you a lovely cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other things, I haven't had a good look at the merch store, actually. I should probably deck myself out. And it'd be weird, though, wouldn't it, doing a podcast with someone but having your skull on me. Like, it's supposed to be you, right? It's your skull with a hat on.
I quite like it when people turn up on the battle reports and wear the merch. Dark Angels Chris was here and he had some merch on for the first time. It's like, Sultan's never worn, ever, any of my shizzle.
See this little microphone here?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with anything. I usually push this away. I just realised it's out and it's not recording anything. So I'm just going to poke it back in there.
Okay.
Look at that.
It just comes out.
Just slide it back in again.
So it doesn't matter how long it is?
No, nothing.
It doesn't matter if it's poked out or pushed all the way back in?
No, it's the same either way.
It does nothing.
So we're doing the armies thing, and we had to think about it beforehand, and we remembered that we did the Space Marines last time, and what the advice was for Space Marines, that if you want to do Space Marines, you can do anything.
Yeah.
They just do everything. They don't mess around. So go back and watch that if you want to do Space Marines. There's nothing. I don't think we gave any decent advice.
I don't think we've given any decent advice since we started this. But
no. Only a few factions left, and after that we've got some. Because it's Halloween coming up, but this will come out. It'll be like the day before Halloween or something. So we got some spooky questions. Woo,
from the community.
Winters community.
Join the community. Then you can ask some questions on the STC. That's what we normally do. Thank you for everyone who asks some questions. We might answer one tonight.
Yeah. How do you join the community though?
You click some buttons on the device that's in your hand. and you become at least a tier 2 channel member. But can I recommend becoming a tier 3 channel member where you'll get an extra battle report every single Winter's Wednesday?
Yeah, and like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell.
Right.
Was that the YouTube? That's the YouTube stuff.
That's what people say, yes.
That's what they say. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next faction on our list are pretty spooky themselves.
Right.
It's the Thousand Suns.
1 minute. We went from Space Marines
to the Thousand Suns. Yeah.
What about Space Wolves? That begins with an S.
Oh, they're all
We're not covering the Space Wolves.
They're all in Space Marines now.
Are they?
You press the button. Yeah, you got Black Templars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels. Okay,
Right.
do you want to look at the Space Marine, the fancy Space Marines?
Space Wolves are basically Space Marines for furries. If you're like furries, if you've got 2 hobbies, like Warhammer 40k and furries, you're a Space Wolf player.
Yeah.
It's rather forward thinking of Games Workshop to create a whole faction for all those furries out there. So we're on to Thousand Suns, huh?
Yeah.
And if you've played Space Marine 2, you'll be rather familiar with them. They are bad guy Space Marines that teleport with dust instead of flesh.
Yeah.
They've got the Egyptian theme going on. They're space wizard Space Marines in space. But
it's funny you mentioned the Space Wolves, right?
Right.
Because the Space Wolves, they went over to the Thousand Suns.
Yes.
And they did a naughty. They did a really naughty. They destroyed everything. They destroyed all their cool stuff. So they're like the Thousand Suns are basically like space Egyptians, right? They had all these cool pyramids, and they had really cool books. You could read about like different types of sausage making. They had all the information. They had like how to make hip hop beats.
Collected ancient books from the Dark Age of technology. Hungry Hippo was in there.
Yeah.
How
to change the spark plug on a Nissan Micra.
Right.
All that kind of stuff. They had it all in their magic library, and the Space Wolves were deceived into doing a big naughty. But also, they were kind of a little bit mutating into horrible, many-limbed blue and pink stuff. And one of their number had a bright idea to like do this magic spell, and essentially what happened is that most of them turned into actual dust. And that dust is in the armor. So if you're playing Space Marine 2 and you're wondering why when you like stab into them they just go and their shell bursts open and dust comes out, it's because that's what they are. They're all is dust. They're just dust inside. Dust. Apart from the really good sorcerers, they're dudes, and they just have to like bring their mates back in dust form, which is kind of sad. But if you haven't guessed already from the various things about them being super clever and stuff, they're the sorcerer legion. Now sorcery wizard stuff in this edition is not what it has been in the past,
except for Thousand Suns.
Yeah. But I imagine if they change the psychic phase again in future, you'll have even more shenanigans with these guys.
But the Thousand Suns are the only faction that still have a psychic phase. The Grey Knights don't, and they're the good guys. Sorcerer, Space Wizards, Space Marines. But the Thousand Suns detachment rule is psychic phase, cabal points. Yeah. So they still have their thing.
They still have their thing. Yeah.
They have a whole thing with points and things which allows them to cast spells, including saying that unit over there that has no armor whatsoever, naked when I shoot them.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy stuff, crazy pants.
So yeah, these followers of Zinch command all the magical powers, and if that's your thing, they can shoot, they can do bits and bobs, but their main thing is that they're going to be blasting your face clean off with magic. So
face off,
the face off. The next faction on here under T, it's not really a faction. It's a bit of a lie. It's the Titan Legions.
The Adeptus Titanicus. Legions.
Yeah, you can't really play them. That's not really.
You can't play the Titan Legions in 40k per se.
But they put them
here. Who put them there? Who are they?
James Workshop put them there. They're on the
James
bloody
Workshop.
40k army builder under T Titan Legions.
Why is James Workshop putting those things there? They're a
Dunno.
Horus Heresy thing.
I'm going to click on
They're
it.
an Apocalypse thing. That's a deeper cut. Basically, if you're starting Warhammer 40k and you want to run some Titans, then you can, but it's more of a collect. They're not a thing, but they are a thing. So don't get the thing if you want to play the thing against people with other things, because they won't let you play them against other things. You only get the thing if you want to collect the thing and play them with people who don't do the thing.
I'll give you a clue, right?
What?
So we usually play like 2,000 points is like a normal game of 40k, right? So there's only 4 data sheets for the Titan Legions in 40k.
Yeah.
The first one is a Reaver Titan, which is 2,200 points. So you can't even bring him. The next one is the Warbringer Nemesis Titan, which is 2,600 points. Can't bring him. Warlord Titan, it's ridiculously big. 3,500 points. Can't bring him. The Warhound Titan, though, is only 1,100 points. So you could bring a Warhound if you want. You've got a Warhound, haven't you?
Yeah.
They're kind of cool if you're into like dogs and robots at the same time.
Yeah. The Warhound Titan is bigger than some dogs.
Yeah, the actual model for it.
Yeah.
So ignore the Titan Legions. That's not That's not good unless you're very rich.
Edit that bit out.
Yeah, I'll edit that out.
The next T is Tyranids.
It's Tyranids.
It's got to be. It's Tyranids.
Tyranids. It's funny how we got to like the Space Marine 2 stuff right at the end.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you've played Space Marine 2, you know exactly what a bloody Tyranid is. It's a horrible bug group of bugs. They're the winners. They're the winners of 40k, kind of. No, they're not the winners of 40k. We established that was the Necrons. They're the runners up. The runner-up winners of 40k.
Well, the Necrons might be the past winners because they won everything once, but the Tyranids might be the future winners and win everything once because they're coming from outside the galaxy to consume this galaxy, which is a big threat.
Yeah, it's
but
naughty.
I like to turn that knob. I like to grab hold of that knob and yank it all the way up to 11. And imagine like the dead space scenario, which is not only have they come from outside the galaxy to this galaxy, but imagine if all the galaxies around us, thousands of them, have all been consumed by the Tyranids. And all of that space, and we're just the last prick of life left in this massive... There's loads of them. And maybe they win the future.
Yeah, and we're just the last pricks waiting around to be consumed and turned into sludge.
Yeah, sometimes I do feel like a bit of a prick.
Yeah, I feel like the last one.
Yeah.
Tyranids.
The one thing I want to say about the Tyranids is, you know I said every single faction is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, the Tyranids are perhaps the one exception to that rule.
Yeah, they're completely neutral, aren't they?
They're neither good nor bad.
They've just got their own thing.
They are a forest fire, they are a whirlwind, they are a tsunami, they are a force of nature. They just want to nom nom nom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I respect that. It's that they've got they don't care who you are, what you are. You could be the Emperor, you could be a little test tube towel baby thing. They'd eat you one and the same. They're not concerned with
I thought
things.
You were going to do a Westlife rap there for a moment, like I don't know who you are, what you do, as long as you love me. That one I thought you was gonna. Yeah, they don't.
I should have done that. I should have.
Is it Westlife? I don't know. It might be Boys to something. Take that.
It was a group of young lads.
Get right. One
who got together and did a song. Not them.
Yes.
Not them.
I do like Busted.
Yeah, they're Busted were cool.
Busted were cool.
Yeah. And they had that one guy with the deep voice who's like got on to do some heavier music. Can't remember what he's called now. He's got a band.
Right.
Tyranids. Now, this is another faction that I think can be played. You can kind of get what you want out of it as long as you want bugs.
Right.
To eat stuff, right? So they are like there are ways of playing it so that playing a Tyranid army so that you have a billion jillion bugs that just swarm people and they die.
You definitely can bring
and they kill everybody.
300 little bugs in
Yeah.
one hit, no problem.
And a big bug's like squirting them out everywhere and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Or, so when I first got back into 40k in 8th edition at the start, I played Tyranids. And I played a Chronos list, which was a shooting Tyranid army that caught everyone off guard. So when I'd say to them, "Oh, I'm going to bring Tyranids," they'd turn up with like all their horde killing stuff, and I'd turn up with Tyrannofexes and Exocrines and Hive Guard and is it Hive Guard?
Hive Guard is shooty, yeah.
The ones that used to blind.
Fire around corners,
indirect fire and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'd turn up with those. You can have a really, really elite bug army as well.
Yeah.
With hive tyrants and big tanky bugs. There are, I think they're all as viable. I haven't played them in 10th.
Right.
So I don't know whether they've I sold them, so I don't have them anymore. But I shouldn't have sold them. I really regret it now. I had 3 hive tyrants and I loved all 3 of them. They all had names, which I've forgotten now. And I love Tyrannofexes as well. I think they're great.
That's a sad story, that.
Yeah. Had 3 Carnifexes.
Right.
All gone. But anyway, would you agree? So do they still play like that in 10th? Can you still have like an elite bug army as well?
Yeah.
Just a big monster.
Yeah,
Monster
it's a codex that's been around for. I mean, the Tyranid faction's been around since Space Hulk. They've been around forever. So you can go big bug, little bug, cardboard box. You can do a thing. These days, it's the winning-ish that the other way you can play them, and the winning lists at the tournament level are all the ninja jump out from the shadows sort of stuff, with all the lictors and the death leapers and the things like that. That's the list. It's ninja kick from behind sort of stuff. Lone operative all over the place. It's all very stealthy. That's the way they're played at tournaments. So you get them getting in amongst your lines and sowing confusion while the big bugs are either shooting you from a long way away or running up and headbutting you. There's different ways of playing them for sure. They're also a good army to paint. They're also a good army to collect and paint. They're rather unforgiving because you can paint them whatever colours you want.
Yeah. And their bodies work really well with contrast paint as well.
Yeah.
I have several times been tempted to sneak back into them. So I signed up for was it Imperium magazine? What was the one that there was one that came with premium kits that weren't that premium. My camera's going all crazy, and it came with a bunch of termagants and a Genestealer Patriarch and some stuff. Not Patriarch, Brood Lord.
There's a thing with a thing, and you're thinking about getting more things.
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
Because you've already got about 12 other projects that you're working through right now.
12 projects, yeah. Sorry about my 12 projects, but...
No, I like it. That's good. 12 projects is good. It's better than having 0.
It's better than having 0, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So that's Tyranids. The other thing you get to do with Tyranids as well is you don't have to feel sad. So...
What? When they die, you mean?
When they die, yeah. You don't have to worry about, like, if you're playing with your Space Marines and you get tabled, you're like, oh, my lovely Space Marines, and I had a name for him and a name for him, and he had this backstory, and it's like, oh, they just got trashed. Tyranids, you're just like, go on then.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Just
Bug
literally...
number 107 has died, so what?
So one of the things that's important to know about them is that they have a big 3D printer that they put the slime in, don't they?
Yeah.
To eat stuff, and then they all boil up, and then they get 3D printed back out again, and like their characters still die and turn into mush, and they just 3D print their legendary character, that the guys that they really like, they can just, that the hive mind can just 3D print him back out again.
Fun fact, they invented 3D printing in the 41st millennium.
They did, and they've been sued by Games Workshop, but I think it's still going through the thing. Because they were 3D printing like Brood Lords and Swarm Lords, and all kinds of stuff.
Game Workshop very upset. They're suing the Tyranid race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which so that's everyone's favourite Xenos army after orcs. People love Tyranids. I think people like Tyranids.
People like
Tyranids
playing
are cool.
against them, playing with them.
Yeah.
There's something just clean. There's something primal. They're a good. Yeah, it doesn't
when you
matter
fight against them, it feels really good. Like I took my Black
aliens.
Templars against.
They want to claw your face off.
They want to claw your face off, and
yeah.
I took my Black Templars against Wrath of Constantine, who's a regular viewer, Discord member, and all that stuff. And I took my Black Templars there, and we had such great fights. And my Emperor's Champion was like dueling with a Broodlord, a Hive Tyrant. I'm just getting all my bugs confused. The Hive Tyrant and the Crusaders were like wading through termagants, and it felt very 40k. It felt very glorious battle.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to be on both sides of the fun opponent and play a fun army, Tyranids are a good pick.
It felt very glorious battle.
Yeah, like big glorious battle. It felt very glorious battle.
Felt very glorious battle.
Yeah. You know what I mean by.
I'm stunned by your intellect. Next.
Yeah. Next is the opposite. So this is the Marmite faction.
Okay.
Real Marmite faction as well.
Yeah.
So if Space Wolves are for furries,
yes,
then the Tau Empire are for the anime nerds, but they're kind of not. Right? I think it's unfair. Lots of people call them space communists and all this kind of stuff. They're wrong. They're not. They don't practice communism, or anything close to it. Actually,
no.
They practice a weird caste system, in which all their little weird test tube Tau are born and assigned a role in the society, whether it be fighting in the fire caste, or flying around in the air caste, or building stuff in the earth cast.
Yes.
And doing something else with the water cast.
That's the law.
Swimming.
There's different castes.
Yeah.
There's the swimming, and then there's the building, and then this.
Yeah.
But the fire cast are the ones on the tabletop. They're the ones that go to war with a few ethereals every now and then. Gundam in space. Americans, as I like to call them. They've got all the gear and all the guns, and join us, and everything will be fine for the greater good, and otherwise we'll destroy you.
So
they're the bad guys as well.
Yeah, Tau get to play with big robots and little robots. If you like robots and you like aliens, if you liked Avatar, if you like those guys, they're blue guys from Avatar. You might like these guys.
If you like Gundam, you'll like these guys. Yeah. If you like Mass Effect, you'll like the Leagues of Otan or these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's people see they. I see what you mean about the Marmite, because some people hate the Tau because they don't feel like they're very grimdark, and they don't feel like they fit the narrative very well. But I think they do fit the narrative. I think, look, the games were there's lots of species like the Tau around the galaxy, and if you think about it, you've got the Chaos versus the Imperium, and then look at the Xenos races, the alien races. There's like 4 big ones. There's like including the Leagues of Otan, there's 5 now, but there's Necrons, Orcs, Tyranids, Tau, and Leagues of Otan, and that's it. And the rest, and then Eldar, 6, that's it. But there really should be another 20.
Yeah, they're talked about.
The Tau fit in with that group, which are these lesser... Because the other thing about the Tau is they inhabit a tiny portion of the galaxy compared to all the other races. And if any one of the other factions decide to give them a proper beef, then they wouldn't be around again. They'd be gone. So it's a statement of intent by Games Workshop. Hey, look, here's a tiny race over here, which, I mean tiny. In galactic terms, tiny. In their real terms, there's trillions of them. But there's another one to the left, and another one to the right, and here's the Harad, and here are the space rats, and here are this thing, and here is the slugs with laser cannons in their heads, the Zotes, and here's all the. But they decided to say, hey, look, we'll bring the Tau forward, and this is one of them. So yeah, I think they fit in, just like lots of Xenos races fit in, and I'm glad we actually got some models for them, and I think Games Workshop should release more Xenos races. I want to see Space Ogres in space. That race where everyone is a chonky model, like mini dreadnought size, walking around, and everything's 100 points, and you only need about 20 of them, and that's a 2,000 point list, but they're space ogres in space, and that's how they go. There's room for everyone to get destroyed in the grim darkness of the far future. That's
exactly
what I'm saying.
I think they represent a nice balance. So yeah, the whole grimdark argument is getting a bit old because this army's been around for like 23 years now.
Man. Came in third edition.
Yeah, they're as much part of the established 40k universe as any army.
Yeah.
Because I think that was the thing for a while. They were the new race. They were the totally new race. I
remember when they came out, people were expecting Kroot. People were talking about Kroot. People wanted Kroot. Kroot carnivores that eat brains and get bigger, and they wanted that. And then Kroot came out, but they were a subservient race of the Tau. Because that's the other thing about the Tau. There are other species, like the Covenant in Halo.
Yes.
There's many alien species and human species that coexist with the Tau as part of their greater good things. There's some human worlds that go over and go, yeah, we'll join America. You've got all the Starbucks and the pizzas and the things, and the McDonald's. We'll love that. The Emperor over there, they don't let us. We just eat corpse starch, which is corpse starch in cans, which sounds like spam, but really it's reconstituted human flesh. That's all we get from there. And I don't want any reconstituted human flesh. I want a Big Mac. So they joined the Tau. So yeah,
there's some interesting stories, literature out there about people that have joined the Tau and what it's like. It's again, for the people that don't think they're very grimdark, the lore behind them has got darker and has changed somewhat over the years, and they're just a different kind of dark. It's a different kind of control. It's a different kind of thing going on there.
They're very grimdark. They are a slave species which are hypno-indoctrinated and controlled almost like hive mind essence again through the ethereals. And then their backstory is that they aren't even in control of their own destiny. They're a species that was kick-started by the Eldar, using some spider DNA and a few other things, kick-started as a fire break on the eastern fringe of the galaxy to help slow down the Tyranid advance that the Farseers came. So they're a genetically engineered child race which doesn't have much of a psychic imprint in the warp, because they knew they needed that too, in order to protect Craftworld Uthway, which is just to the left of that place floating through. And they're a slave species, and they're pretty grimdark. The fifth sphere of expansion, the Tau's there. They killed everyone who wasn't Tau. They killed the Vespids, they killed the humans, they killed the Kroot that were on the ships in the fifth sphere of expansion. You've got their own Horus backstory. Basically, Commander Farsight is a bit of a Horus figure. It's nice. I like the Tau stories. It's good stuff.
He's so broken
innocent.
away.
They're so cute.
Well,
they have all the guns. They shoot from very long way away.
Yeah.
And they don't hit most of the time, just like America.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In terms of tabletop performance, they are an odd bag. Games Workshop never quite knows what to do with them.
Well, they've always shot though.
They always shoot,
a long way away.
But they've gone through like one edition. They've got these big robots called Riptides. In one edition, they were toughness 5, I think, or toughness 6. Big battle suits.
Always been tough. Riptides have always been big and chonk.
7th edition, they were low toughness and low wounds, and then in 8th edition they were tanks, and then they keep.
But the Triptide list was a 7th edition thing that ruined the tournament scene. People hated them then.
Maybe it was 5th edition. One of the editions they were blah blah blah. Anyway, the point is that they're always going up and down in power. So it's one of those armies that you might find really, really, really strong sometimes and really, really, really weak sometimes. They seem to have more. They seem to go more extreme up and down, in my opinion.
Okay.
As someone who has a Tau army, I forgot to say I've got a Tau army as well.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got a full
Tau army.
Tau army. They're packed away at the moment because I just
get him.
I did.
Tau.
I've painted very grim dark Tau. They are all their suits are battered. You know, people approach them in two ways. They either make them very clean, colourful, and lovely, or they make them all like Junker Tau. They make them all battered and stuff. And I went for the battered option. I don't like a battered sausage, but I do like a battered Tau suit.
Battered Tau and chips. Battered fish and chips.
Yeah, battered fish and chips. Yeah. But the other cool thing is they've recently had a big re-release of their the Kroot part of the army.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it is, but
it's terrible. But at least they've got the models.
At least the models are there. Models are nice and new and cool. They've got some stuff in there, and we've just seen Vespids come back. And Vespids, I've always fancied some Vespids with their neutron. Like it does this. It does this.
What?
My camera just goes.
I thought you were waving at me.
Yeah. Well, hi.
Hi.
Vespids with their neutron blasters. They've just been re-released as well. So
yeah,
cool. But can we have some more aliens, please? Games Workshop.
Yeah, we wanted more aliens, and they gave us the Leagues of Votann.
Yeah, who are the least aliens.
Yeah.
Ever.
They're like the safest aliens they could make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you like? I think I would like to see. There was a there was a big piece of art. Right. Oh, actually, before I get onto this, I wanted to say that John Blanche's original drawings for Tau Fire Warriors were awesome. They looked very much like a Fire Warrior now, but they were more sort of tribal and a bit chunkier looking. They were great. There was a piece of art that went up on Warhammer Community about something to do with the 40k universe, and it had all these creatures that we've never seen before illustrated.
Races, yeah, it's a famous picture.
Yeah, and one of them is like mushrooms, right?
The slime monster thing, you mean the Hrud?
No, like actual mushrooms.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. The Hrud are like bug-like things, aren't they? They're
a bit
horrible.
Like,
you can't see them. You can't see them properly.
Swamp
can you?
Thing. No.
It's their time thing.
Their thing is that they infest below planets. Like, like orcs take the surface of planets. They are below planets, and they use radiation technology. Is their thing. It's all about radiation and irradiating stuff, and they're immune to irradiation. Barbarous Antioch, one of the most famous Iron Warriors, got smacked by some of those, which is why he got aged really, really badly.
Yeah.
The Hrud are a force faction that they could bring to the tabletop, but I imagine that'd be... You want space ogres, like I said, or space trolls in space. You want something which would be a good, nice starting army. So when little Timmy comes along, it's like, oh, well, how do I start? Well, and you say to him, instead of getting 100 models and getting this thing and this thing and this thing and this, because you need a lot of models to have an army, what you can do is just say, look, these guys, and then you only need to paint 20 of them, because each of them is about 100 points, and they look big and they look chunky and they look impressive, and they can have missile racks on their back, or some with big swords and hammers going forward. That's what they need. Space trolls in space. That would look epic.
I don't want to see hammers go. I want to see new, completely new stuff.
Yeah.
Not fantasy weapons in the 41st millennium. Not bolters.
Okay.
With a different name.
Not a hammer then, so a chisel and a power drill.
No, power drills are already in Genes to the Cults. Okay. Something new. How about...
A sander for
plasma
sanding.
Tridents.
A plasma trident.
Yeah, and they can fight with them, and they can throw them as well.
And an egg whisk.
Yeah. That would be great. The egg whisk in this hand. Yeah. And then get someone with a trident. Do you remember when we used
squirrel launcher, and they launch these squirrels, and they're space squirrels with big, sharp, nasty, pointy teeth, and the squirrels come out. Squirrel launcher.
There was a time when we, on the STC, a couple of times, actually came up with some great ideas for Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Like when we came up with the other units that should come out for World Eaters.
Yeah.
And obviously the Emperor's Children that are coming out next year, they've obviously taken them from that episode where we talked about the Emperor's Children.
Yeah.
This is another one of those moments where Games Workshop, I want you to watch this, and you can have the Trident Whisk monsters. We want about 20 of them to an army. Yeah. Size of an ogre, but let's not have them as ogres, please. Let's have something new. I personally would like mushrooms.
Don't call them space ogres. Call them, the leagues of open.
No.
Give them a different thing, but they look kind of like that. I mean, we are just dropping multi-billion-dollar ideas for free here. It's what we do.
Let's call them
what?
Grogans.
Grogans?
Grogans.
That sounds a bit like Drogon.
And they
reminds me of something.
They wear battle kilts.
Grogans? Aren't they in Mass Effect, the Grogans?
Oh, they could be.
Or is it Drogans?
Grogans, then.
Grogans? Why G?
Okay.
Why are you settling on G?
Not dragon.
Giraffe.
That's
Giraffins? Gators. Space gators.
Gators.
No.
Gators. Freight. Smokers. Yeah.
Any idea for a name for the space ogres in space or space trolls? And you put it below.
That's our secret code for this episode.
That's our secret code for this episode.
Yeah.
The real ones are still watching after all this time. Well done on you. Well done. Legends, all of you, still watching after all this time. What is the name of the space race of ogres / Black Orcs / trolls? That sort of big chonky thing.
Yeah.
And if you want to add some lore to it, chuck it in the comment section below. Shout out to all the real ones who did answer Warlord Titan questions from last week as well. We've got quite a few comments on that one.
We did, and I enjoyed all of them. I go through. I like all of them because I actually do read them all and like them. And you can't get rid of the Power Whisk tridents though. Like that has to stay.
Power Whisk tridents.
Yeah. But I think
they spin like close to the speed of sound, and they just flail off the armor and the skin. It's ep23. So it's like a really like and rips you apart. And nasty. Yeah.
Oh my god! It's like monofilament whisk.
Monofilament whisks with lasers. Laser whisk. It's a laser.
It's a laser monofilament whisk
/ whip.
Yeah. So a bit like the Harlequins, but it's big, and they just push it into you and spin it at the same time, and you just blast to bits.
And it's also really good for making custard.
Yes. They can make all kinds of really nice puddings. Yeah. And good meringue. You need a good whisk for a meringue, and I think that whisk would really do it. You just got to make sure it's on low power. Otherwise,
low power.
Yeah, you could find yourself in trouble. But name that race. Give us a bit of lore. If you're an illustrator, just draw what they look like and put it on the Discord so that we can bundle this up. I can't give you any of the money we're going to get from it, but I'll bundle it up and just send it off to Games Workshop.
If you are an illustrator, so put it on pop it in the post, send it to Winter's House, Holy Terror. Yeah, I'll pick it up. I'd love to see your illustrations. Yeah, and the name. Cool. So that's the Tau. Oh, right. Yeah. What was that? We were actually supposed to tell. Yeah, so they shoot. They're guns. They shoot.
They don't shoot well, but they always have a mechanic that helps them shoot better. That's their thing. Guns. They're generally quite fragile.
They used to be quite fragile.
They used to be quite
not
fragile
anymore. They can be. You can bring a chonky Tau list as well, because you can bring Riptides, Storm Surges, Crisis Suits, Ghost Kills. They've got quite a bit of chonk to them. You can bring a chonk list of Tau now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so they could be fragile. I mean, normal Tau. What you're talking about is the normal guys running around all over the place.
Fire warriors. Yeah.
Yeah. If you sneeze at them, they'll fall over. But
I do like fire warriors, though. I like them. I like the look of them. I like the aesthetic. I like their helmets. I think they look cool.
You should report to your local inquisitor.
Don't. That's Tau anyway. Collect them if you want, but don't be surprised if all the memes make fun of you and all the people make fun of you.
Look, if you're in this hobby, someone somewhere is going to make fun of you.
Yeah, no matter what you are. Yeah. We've got one faction left, and that will give us just enough time to do some of these questions as well, because we've been waffling on again. Who'd have thought it?
That's just terrible.
We don't usually do this kind of thing.
Normally we're very professional.
Very concise.
Yeah.
Last faction is a new faction, and I love them. And I don't know if they're where they should be yet, but it's early days. Early days still. It's the World Eaters.
The World Eaters?
The World Eaters, mate. Now, last time we had a big chat about the World Eaters, we pointed out, couple of things. That the release of the World Eaters was a little lackluster in terms of, compared to that of Death Guard. So they, Thousand Suns were first, then Death Guard.
Yeah.
And Death Guard really looked like it would be the template for the other two Chaos.
Particularly by the
God
time
factions.
Death Guard came out, it has about the same chunk of the Thousand Suns and the Death Guard have got quite a few units.
Yeah.
Not loads compared to the other factions, but quite a few units. And then the World Eaters dropped. And it made Warsmith Chris sad.
Yeah. So there's nothing particularly wrong with World Eaters because they are thematic still, how they play, but essentially they gave you... Oh dear, he's having a... He's having a bad...
Edit that bit out.
Yeah, sorry. I'll put a horse emoji over you.
Okay.
If the budget stretches
Right,
to it. I'll check the budget at the end, alright?
Okay.
The World Eaters, they got the Berserker... So the Berserker kit up until last year or whatever, all times messed up now, whenever World Eaters came out, year before, whatever. The Berserker kit was like 100 years old, and I had 40 of them, and I still like them. But the new Berserker kit is real nice. It's real good models.
It's the nuts.
So they said, right, new Berserkers, cool. That replaces the old one, and we'll get rid of all this silly stuff where it's like chain axes and chain swords are different. You just got Berserker chain weapons. I love that. I love the fact you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. Okay, so what should we do next? I'll tell you what, we need our cultist, our specialist cultist unit. So Death Guard got Poxwalkers. The Thousand Suns got their Zangors. And World Eaters got Jackals. Lovely models. Again, just brutal, tough guys. They've got like a big... swollen one in amongst their ranks.
The swollen one in amongst there, so they're like World Eater nutjob cultists.
Yeah.
The big chonky guy in there, that was a Space Marine.
Yes.
Who's dishonoured and has been stripped from their armour, and the black carapace has been gouged out the back of his neck, and has been told, "Nah, you stay at the back with these fellas now.
Yes.
You're not allowed to fight in power armour anymore." That's someone he turned his back and ran at one point.
Yes,
Brilliant.
and he looks very
Love
cool.
That guy.
Yeah,
Love
he looks
that guy.
very cool. And that World is the only, apart from a handful of... No, they're the only Space Marines you can see with a significantly less armour on. So World Eaters, some Berserkers have got a whole arm out. The Dishonoured have got it all out. Apart from the scouts and stuff of other factions, it's the only Space Marine you see running around naked. With them.
Are you going to go through every unit type that the World
No,
Eaters
I'm trying to make a point here.
Right, get to the... Right, yeah, in the end, what? What's the
I'm
point?
going to make the
What's
point in about
Chris?
3 minutes, right?
Okay.
And then they wanted an elite unit, and then they made the 8-bound and the Exalted 8-bound, which are like big Berserkers.
Okay.
Then they kind of ran out. They kind of ran out at that point. It was like nothing else new, really.
What's your point?
There's a character stuff for this. It was a half release, and it's still in that state now, right? So if you get into World Eaters, I'm just trying to say to you, they didn't get any new demon engines. They didn't get a Plague Burst Crawler equivalent, and fetid bloat drones, and the Blight Haulers, and all. There were all these demon engines came out for the Death Guard. Okay, they didn't for Thousand Suns, but Thousand Suns got some very iconic units.
Why aren't there World Eaters on Juggernauts or bikes or with jetpacks? Because all three of those things will get into the blood quicker.
Yeah.
So they would use them.
They could have some great Chaos Bikers with like spinning blades on the side.
These jump packs.
We came up with the blood, whatever it was. We came up with the demon engine that just sprays blood everywhere at the battlefield.
Skulls,
which we're waiting for Games Workshop to pay us for that, and obviously release the models. But so I'm hoping with Emperor's Children we'll see something a little bit more robust, and I'm hoping that World Eaters will be filled out. But essentially, if you get into World Eaters, you've got limited unit choice, and they all do the same thing, but in different degrees. You've got your Jackals, which are objective capturers. They can sticky objectives. You've got your Khorne Berserkers that can chop things up, and then you've got your Exalted 8-bounds and your 8-bounds, which can chop things up. That's how they play. That's what they do. If you're into going forward fast as you can and chopping things up, that's all that World Eaters do. But they do it all right. They do it okay.
They're at the other end of the scale from Tau. Tau
Yes.
have all the guns and can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag.
Yes.
World Eaters have very few guns, and they can fight their way out of a wet paper bag and the inside of a megalodon if they wanted to. They would go through a megalodon like it wasn't there.
But in terms of shooting, it's going to be a plasma pistol is probably the best you're going to get.
Yeah.
And a couple of las cannons strapped to the thing they will get in to drive forward. Las cannons.
And they do need a chunk more added to their codex, because one of the things in the lore that they do have as well is really big guns that shoot you from a long, long way away. That is a World Eater thing as well, because they want to make sure that all those tin cans are open by the time they get there.
Yeah.
So lore-wise, they're missing half a book.
Yep.
Half a book, because there's hardly any guns in it. And there should be some demon engines that are really good at chewing your face off, but also some demon engines that have some really big guns with a 100-inch range. That should be in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they could be good for is if you want to get into a faction that might one day be complete and much better and be like, well, I was always into World Eaters, you can say.
Yeah.
I was always into World Eaters. Right.
And they're cool. World Eaters are cool.
World Eaters are
Berserkers
cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
They're iconic. They're cool. Everyone likes them. Yes.
Yeah, people know what they're getting into when they fight them. They know it's do or die. You shoot them before they get to you, or you die. That's it.
Big demon Primarch as well, called Angron.
Angron's cool.
Yeah.
He keeps coming back. He's a bit mean, but all of them, all the Chaos Gods have got their all the Chaos God specific factions have got a Primarch. It'll be interesting to see what we get with Emperor's Children, seeing as we had a release of Fulgrim for Horus Heresy, didn't we? Are they going to? Who knows?
Re-release them? Who knows?
Who knows?
We shall see.
Plastic.
They're
version.
saying 2025 is the year of chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, Death Guard Codex all come out. The Chaos, we're going to get. We've already had the Chaos Spaceman Codex, but by the year of Chaos, I'm assuming they mean Emperor's Children are to come out, more World Eaters, Codex 2.0 come out, and also Bad Mech. I expect to see.
Bad Mech would be great. And you know what? I'd like to see a bespoke Demon Engine come out for Thousand Suns as well.
Would you?
Yeah, because they reused the
Mutalith Vortex Beast.
Mutalith. Yeah, it was a.
Yeah.
I like the fact they do that sometimes. They find a better purpose for something, but I'd like to see them have something of their own.
They need a new chunk in their chunk, don't they? And all Thousand Suns players will end up buying it. So
guaranteed.
Hope so. Have we done it? Have we reached the end?
That is all of them.
We climbed the mountain.
Yeah, and it only took us basically the majority of 3 episodes.
Nice.
We've got about 10 minutes to answer some questions.
Clean, concise, professional. I like it.
If you don't know what faction you want after that, I don't know what else we could have done.
I feel like we've achieved something now.
Yeah, we've got our 3
achievement
things.
Unlocked.
Yeah. When we first started the STC, we did the history up into the Horus Heresy.
Yes.
Of and that took us a couple of episodes or whatever.
Well, we were going to do the entire history, but it took us 3 episodes just to get to the Horus Heresy, I think.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do it without spoiling loads of stuff as well, so we changed that. And then now we've done this. That's 2 series under our belt. We'll come up with 2. Yeah. Okay, so a few people have asked some questions with a bit of a spooky theme to them.
When is Halloween?
These are for fun. I think it's this weekend, 30th. Today? Tomorrow? Is it today?
So this will come
Tomorrow.
out just after the Halloween stuff.
Oh, didn't time that very well,
we're filming it just before, so it's going to come out just after.
It's going to come out the day after Halloween, but everyone's still in their spooky.
Well, if you can get it to me by Thursday, I can bring it out on the Thursday. I don't know.
It's
about now. Anyway,
yeah.
People ask some questions. Thanks for asking the questions. Legends, all of you. Chris has picked some.
Yeah, so there's this guy called Sultan.
Right, I've heard of him.
He's a regular viewer, I think.
Yeah.
He says, who is the spookiest regular player and why?
Chewie.
Is he spooky because he's tall?
Have you ever been in a room with that guy?
Yeah,
He's scary.
Yeah, he's.
I genuinely fear for my life.
Yeah, he's a little bit.
He knocks scenery over. He's thrown miniatures out the table. I don't know if he should. Yeah, when he reverses, he makes a beep, beep, beep. I have no idea where it comes from, but there's this beeping noise. He's a scary man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to combine two questions into one.
Okay. Who do you think's the most spooky?
Who's the most spooky regular?
Yeah.
I
mean, Brap looking at his face makes you want to cry. I know that much.
Yeah, but that's more of a revulsion than horror.
It's like, get this thing away from me sort of thing. Yeah.
Something, when I talk to Stylus, when I look into Stylus's eyes,
it's cold eyes.
There's the deep chill.
Yeah.
You know, I know that behind all this lovely exterior and happy-go-lucky guy, something dreadful lurks, and it does chill me to the bone. And I think one day, if I was to be caught alone with him we were playing a game of something, I wouldn't be surprised if I was never seen again. Like, honestly.
They're soulless.
Yeah.
He's a pariah.
That's exactly. You know what? I was just about to say that. You just sense it as soon as you're in the room with him. And the more psychically resonant you are, the more he disturbs you. The more he really gets you. Marius Gage and Rigioni horse emoji. Is that a horse?
Horse emoji?
Could be a wolf.
Could be a wolf.
I've got terrible eyesight. It could be a wolf emoji. Let's pretend it's a shaggy horse emoji, because we do like a horse emoji on here.
We do.
Okay, so they both asked a similar question, and we're going to combine it into one question that I think you're more in a position to recall a good moment for this. So Marius Gage says, which book in the Horus Heresy series is the most gruesome and stomach churning? And they suggest it's Pharos. And then Rigioni says, which Horus Heresy book would make the best horror film adaptation? So I guess what we're looking at here is there a part or a complete story from Horus Heresy?
Story in the Horus Heresy is a short story called The Mirror Cracked, which is when Lucius and a bunch of others get Fulgrim and try and exorcise the demon out of him. And there's some torture going on, and it's basically, it's bad. It's great. You know, Graham McNeil likes to lean heavily on the chaos side of things.
Yeah.
Not the Blade of the Lair itself was picked up from a Xenos sex orgy pit. It's hardcore, nasty chaos. Don't do The Mirror Cracked.
Yeah.
And then what was the other question?
No, it's the same. It's the thing. Which Horus Heresy book or story would make the best horror film? And I'm guessing
Damnation of Pythos would be the best horror film. With the dinosaurs and things and the threat in the background. And also that book is a horror show. So that's what I think. Pharos is... I mean, Night Lords are cuddly. I quite like the Night Lords.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going with there. It's the Night Lords thing it's nice.
I mean, for me, the Conrad Kurz book where he's talking to but not just that, but just talking to a horrible flesh, like going mad and talking to like a flesh golem that you've made out of body parts and stuff. The concept, I think, would be pretty gross to watch.
Yeah, the
and spooky.
Primarch novel is the guy he tortures quite a bit, and then he feels a bit bad, and then he sews the bits back on again, and then in the raid he takes another bit off. It's just it would be pretty rough. The Kurz stuff is so far. It goes out the other side. I think. Yeah. Damnation of Pythos, though, what a horror show that one.
I haven't. I've started Pharos. I need to finish Pharos.
Right. Okay.
I'm assuming stuff, because as far as I read into it, nothing gruesome had happened. So I'm assuming that'll be a treat for another day.
It's got Night Lords in it. So what do you think?
Okay, so it's gonna go bad. Yeah.
And Ultramarines. It's got the light and the dark. It's got both sides.
Has it got an Iron Warrior, like a
Barbarous
loyal
Antioch?
It's got the Antioch.
Iron Warrior in the world ever, from that awesome short story. I forget the name of that one, where he, like expeditionary fleets.
Yeah.
Like Horus himself was in charge of an entire expeditionary fleet. He had many expeditionary fleets that spread across the galaxy to reunite the galaxy. Each Primarch had its own fleet as well. This one Iron Warrior destroys all the traitors in this expeditionary fleet and takes it for himself in one short story.
Yeah.
It's epic, along with the Tetrarch of Ultramar. It is, I forget the name of the story, but it's one of the best short stories in the Horus Heresy, along with the Lightning Tower and along with the Last Church and those ones and the Prince of Crows. It's amazing. So, someone write in the comment section, what is the OG short story with Barbarous Antioch in it? Legend. It's got him and Alexis Pollux from the Crimson Fist short story, which again is another epic short story. Some of the short stories in the Horus Heresy are better than the book.
Oh, yeah. Short stories have got the advantage of being able to skip out. If an author is struggling with pace, short stories can really just keep you in it. Yeah. Can I ask a question about Dantioch?
Yes.
Right, his face
has
been drawn before, right? His mark, his helmet, and it is pretty much the Silver Skull's emblem. Okay. Right? Is that just because Games Workshop reused designs, or is there some?
Yes.
Okay. If you say so.
He's just a really, really. Imagine the Space Marine is who's tens of thousands of years old. That's Dantioch.
Yeah.
Because he was aged.
Because he got
by the radiation technology of the Harad. They don't say it's Harad, but it is, if you know your shizzle.
And I know my shizzle because that's from when Perturabo was fighting them for ages on that planet, and then he had to go in with that device that he made that stopped their time machine stuff, and that's where Dantioch was probably hit. Yeah. Okay.
It's amazing.
Commander N, who you named, by the way.
Yeah. Did I?
Yeah. Because they were called something.
It was something weird, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was stick to the N. It's like the yes.
It's an Irish, but because all Irish people make up how to say words. Instead of Niam, it was supposed to be Neve, and I've got like all these other ones.
They have vowels where you don't need vowels. They take words out where you do need words in.
So we've just gone for Commander
Says the Englishman with the smashed together language made up from 3 different languages, where night and night means 2 different things, and it's just made up words from a made up language which didn't exist 400 years ago. But anyway, what do you want?
How do neutral warp entities like the Chimera, Furies, Enslavers, etc. work? Demons come from the gods, but I always get confused when there are things living in the warp that aren't spawned from a specific god or race.
Okay.
I think the nature of the warp allows for there to just be... It's unknowable, isn't it? That's the whole point. It's
infinite and unknowable, so everything exists and every creation exists within it. Yes.
And you often get these images. It's mentioned in a lot of 40k books where during warp travel they see just like impossible. It's very H.P. Lovecraft. Impossibly sized like tentacles writhing in the, or they think they saw that.
The easiest way to explain it is like everything you can imagine, and all those things that he mentioned are in the warp. And when little Tracy, she's 3 years old, she dreams of the bunny god that comes to bring her the Easter egg. That exists in the warp as well. They all exist in the warp. The problem is, so does Korn, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slanesh, and those things get eaten and destroyed very, very quickly. And they don't last very long in the warp because there's other things in there which eat those things.
Yeah. Some people believe there's a theory that humans can only imagine things that exist at some point. Like our imaginations can only think of things that are actual.
You're talking about Plato's world of forms, which is everything that can exist and does exist in our imagination and in the real world actually exists in this world of forms, and that's why we can have. That's why we have some knowledge of it, and if it didn't exist there, then we'd have no knowledge, no imagination of it. Yes.
That one. Does that mean that 40k is real?
Well, if you believe in Plato. I don't think Plato believed in Plato. Aristotle certainly didn't, and he was his student.
We've got 2 questions left. We can get through this.
Right.
We're going to go into overtime just a little bit because we've got
nice.
20. Yeah.
Love a bit of overtime.
Right. Yawn. Jawn. No, it's yawn. Yearn. Yearn. Yearn says, which imperial holiday has replaced Halloween and how is it celebrated? Feel free to make shit up if you can't find anything canon. Also, that's it. I didn't like the first part of that question. Is there a Halloween in?
No.
No. We can make shit up. Let's call it Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah, and they throw corpse starch to the children.
Still
the second
inside
part,
the tin, so it smacks into their head and makes them bleed, and then you can get more corpse starch.
Because everything's got to be rubbish.
Yeah.
Who's more Halloweenish? And I think that's why I pinned this one, because I like the word Halloweenish. Who's more Halloweenish, the Night Lords or the Legion of the Damned?
Who's more Halloweenish?
So, the Night Lords are Halloweenish in the sense that if horror films, if you're into the slasher genre,
right,
like the supernatural slasher genre where something is preying on you in the dark,
fear is a weapon to the Night Lords.
Yeah, the Legion of the Damned are actual ghosts. So a more traditional Halloween.
Right.
They're ghostly. I mean, they're weird. They're kind of warp muckery as well.
Spooky ghosts.
Yeah.
Like Randy in South Park. Spooky ghosts. They use all the internet.
They use all the internet. And they kind of always have been and always will be because they're warp entities, aren't they? What's the book where the guy who sacrifices himself to them was already the one they were talking to the whole time?
They turn up in Euroventris as well. There's a few other bits. I think there's a Legion of a Damned book now, I think.
There's a damned book.
A damn book.
One question left from Andy R.
Okay. Is
there anything in the 40k universe that genuinely frightens you a little to think about? Everything. Right, I'll tell you why everything genuinely frightens me to think about.
Yeah.
You are in a universe of perpetual warfare and misery where death isn't even a real escape from it either.
No. Death is worse.
Death could potentially be worse.
No, they outright say it's when you die, your soul goes to the Sea of Souls, goes to the warp where it'll be tortured and consumed for eternity by the demons that live there. Death is worse than life. Life sucks, and death is even worse.
Yeah, there's no way out of this perpetual war. You can be something for a while in it, but unless you're a Necron, you're still just going to exist for a pinprick in all of time. If you're no matter what you are, it's going to be bad. Your best bet might be to be a demon. Little bit. Probably. A Nurgle demon, perhaps. You're going to stink, it's going to be gross, but you might actually have a little bit of happiness, a little bit of joy.
You'll like the grossness.
Yeah, and you don't feel pain anymore.
No. Yeah.
You don't feel all that. It looks gross, but you don't feel all that sickness and pain. So maybe that. But anything else apart from being a demon of Nurgle is just genuinely a horrible prospect.
So everything scares you?
Well, no. Okay, if we have to boil it down, I think just the idea of being a human.
Yeah.
Because you're exceptionally like you have zero value.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but nothing in the 41st millennium scares me. But that's because nothing scares me.
Oh,
because,
I see.
Nothing scares me. What can scare me? I mean, you're a little scaredy cat. You're a little scaredy cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a blankie and a little pacifier?
Yeah, can I have those?
Warm chocolate milk?
Yeah.
You want me to tuck you in
Chocolate milk?
But me, Not scared at all. Nothing scares me.
Okay.
I'm fine. Cold and dead inside.
Yep.
I could, no problem. Drop me in the 41st millennium. I'll have them all. I take them all on.
Okay.
Nothing. But you want a little blankie, Chris?
Yeah, I'll have a blankie. And a little hot chocolate milk.
Hot chocolate milk does sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does sound good.
We're gonna cycle this out now because we're at the we're over our. There's no real time. There's no rules to this podcast, but
no,
it's just nice to have a bit of a reference to the framework.
I'm not scared of anything at 45. I've got balls of balls, mate.
He's not scared of anything. I think.
Where's yours? A tiny little pee-pee balls,
little pea balls,
shriveled little pee balls.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Well, my survival instincts will keep me alive in the 41st millennium. You'll get destroyed by the first orc shell that comes your way. The 5-up ballistic skill, bang!
Nah.
You'll be out in the open. They'll get you.
I'm me, double R bastard. That orc better run from me.
There's no
I'm the
chance.
2021 No Retreat Legend of Legend champion. Me, I could take them all on.
Would you take your hat off, or are you too scared?
This hat is sellotaped to my head.
Right, let's get out of here. Well, that's it. I'll see you later, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, it's been a treat.
We're waving at each other again.
Yeah, I like this. This is my favourite bit because we do the wave bit and I fade it out to black, and I always make this bit go quieter and quieter and quieter until you're not sure what we're saying anymore. And around about here, you could say anything you wanted, and it would be gone. So, yeah. So I'm about to say.
I'm not saying anything.